That shows a lot of concern, and that's what we're blessed to have, is people that care, citizens that are engaged. We're here to get answers. We've got people applying for a job. Real citizens, we get to choose who gets elected to these jobs. So guys, y'all are doing very important by being here today and getting the truth, getting the answers. These candidates, I appreciate them for being here. Guys, what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a multifaceted forum today. Can y'all hear me okay? Yes. The volume's good?
No, I don't.
We're gonna have a multifaceted forum. We'll of course open with a pledge and prayer. We have a guest speaker here today. After that, we're gonna go straight into our state candidate races, Secretary of State and Commissioner. Because some of these guys have to leave here, they've got other engagements later in the day in different parts of the state. They're covering a lot of ground. So as soon as these state guys get done with their time, we will probably take a very short break. And we'll let the candidates that have to leave, the state candidates, hit the green room, which is right through this door right here. We've got some freshmen in here.
Good to have a good picture at least.
Absolutely. Get some refreshments, come back out, and then we'll go back into our Polk County specific races. Does that sound good? Y'all down with that? Okay, well, let's get this show started, guys. We're just a tad late, and I apologize for it, but this is going to be a good event. If y'all would, please stand with me and say the pledge of allegiance to our flag and remain standing for prayer, please. Gracious Father, we do thank you for this day. Father, we give you glory in all of it. Father, we just pray this day that the truth be told, that discernment be clear. Father, that these candidates are blessed in their campaigns. Father, we want to thank you for all these citizens here. Father, I also want to lift up all the folks that were not able to be here due to health, finances, or whatever. Father, we want to lift our seniors up especially. Father, we do pray as we go through this that your will be shown to us and that this be a good and clean event. Father, these things humbly we ask in your Son, our Savior, Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, guys. I'll tell you what, let's start out with our guest speaker, which is John Maddox. You may know this guy. You may know him. I hope you do. But John graciously agreed to guest speak for us. He's not a candidate in this cycle. I have no idea what he's going to say. That mic is hot.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So yes, I was asked to be a guest speaker and go really quick. So I'm going to do about 5 minutes, so I guess that's good for y'all. I think I know most of you, but my name is John Maddox, and I'm the state representative for District 86. That is Polk, Montgomery, and a portion of Howard County. I am married to Mandy. She's my wife. We will have been married 29 years this year. We have 2 daughters, Madison and Macy, of whom we are very proud. Unfortunately, they both had to move away, or they both moved away, but hopefully they will someday come back. Is our hope. So I was elected in 2017 to be the state representative for this district. It's amazing how time flies, is what I would say. But when I look back at some of the cards and mailers I did, and I know that those of you who hear me speak, I'm kind of repeating myself, but my passion is cutting the income tax. And so what I want to talk about briefly is all the good things we've done in the state of Arkansas. When I got elected, or prior to that, Arkansas had a terribly high income tax rate of 7%. It is now 3.9. So I want you to think about just that's really simple math, even for me, as how much money, thousands of dollars that we put back into working families' pockets. So I'm so proud of that. My fellow legislators, I see Senator Hammers out here, who's one of them. He supported me, and I'm honored that I was able to pass the largest income tax cut, actually the largest tax cut in the history of the state of Arkansas. I was able to be the sponsor of that legislation, so very proud of that. And it's my hope we're going to do more of that we're going to do more maybe even this year right after the fiscal session. So very excited about that. Also talked about when I ran economic growth. Well, I guess the latest example I gave us some economic growth would be the expansion at the Nidec Motors plant. That is a 25 additional jobs and $20 million capex, so $20 million capital expenditure. I was able to work with AEDC for over 2 years to get tax incentives and credits for them to do that project. So let's be frank, they're a worldwide company. They're a Japanese-owned company. They do business anywhere they want. And they're going to look at what is best for them. So to get that and to have them stay here, very, very excited about that. Because to me, what that shows is you don't spend $20 million unless you're planning to stay. So that was a great day. That's an example of economic growth that we've done. So I'll try to go quick here. There are some good things. I do always normally start out by saying I'm an attorney and a politician, so what could go wrong with that, right? But sometimes there are good things about being an attorney in the legislature. For instance, I passed legislation last session regarding the liability standards for mountain biking. So I realized Arkansas had no place in the code to govern liability standards for mountain biking. So in essence, if you get hurt mountain biking on state or city property, you cannot sue us for that. So very proud to have done that. That was actually really difficult legislation. Some of my friends who are attorneys may not love that legislation, but I think it was really good. So last couple things, grocery tax is now 0. The state of Arkansas does not tax your groceries at all. I think that's a really good policy. Some people mocked us and said it's a very minimal cut. My understanding is it's about a $223 savings to families in Arkansas per year. So granted, it's not a whole lot, but it's good policy because we're not taxing the food that you go and buy. So proud of that. The last couple things is we continue to increase the homestead tax credit. So it is now $600. We've doubled that since I got in office. So as we raise that, it obviously lowers your tax bill. So I do get questions about people concerned about their taxes on their home. So I hope we can continue to do both those things. I think that we can. I guess I'll give you some free legal advice as an attorney. If you have a second home, don't use that as a homestead also. You will get in trouble for that. So I've seen a few people get in trouble for doing that. Don't do that. So in all seriousness, I'm honored to serve the great people of this district. I've enjoyed it immensely. If I can ever help you, in all seriousness, come see me at the office, give me a call, and I'll be glad to help you. So thank you for your support.
That's good, John. You've done a great job, brother. Guys, I see a look around, man. It's incredible. I see a lot of faces, and if I start mentioning, I see Mike Oglesby back there. I see Trooper Thomas back there. I see the mayor sitting over here. Guys, it's just great to be here. This is a fantastic group today. Thank you. Next, we're going to go into our state candidates, our Secretary of State specifically. We have 3 candidates there. I do not know if they're all here. Just randomly, we have Kathy Hardin Harrison. Are you here? Do I see Ms. Harrison here? Brian Norris, I know you're here because I saw you. If you will walk over here to let's see. If you will walk over here, yep, Lance's table. And Senator Hammer, I know you're here. So if you guys would draw a straw, see who speaks first. There's no incumbent courtesy extended on this one, so who do we got? Senator Hammer, you speak first. Mr. Norris, you speak second. Guys, let's throw 10 minutes at you. You've got 10 minutes each. You can use it however you want. You can talk for 10 minutes, you can take questions, whatever you want to do. I will tell y'all guys, Senator Hammer's getting ready, Secretary of State is a multifaceted job. It's not just election integrity. That's one aspect of it, it's a big deal. But there are a lot of things that go on with the Secretary of State job. You're on.
Thank you. I am Kim Hammer. I'm state senator. I served 8 years in the House, and I will complete my legislative career by serving 8 years in the Senate. And to what the gentleman just said, yes, the Secretary of State is more than just elections. In fact, the best way I think I can probably summarize it is elections are 90% of the PR, but business is 90% of the business of the Secretary of State's office. And we find that elections are what's always on the front page and what we're always concerned about, which is rightfully so because we've got to protect the ballot box. So I want to go through and just briefly identify the 3 areas of responsibility that the Secretary of State has authority over. The first one is with regards to elections. And we all want safe elections. We all want secure elections. And that's why it's a good thing that we're recognized in the nation as being #1 for election integrity and election security. If you look at the legislation that's been passed, you're going to see that I'm either the primary sponsor or co-sponsor of much of the legislation that's over the last 3 to 4 sessions that have been passed that has led us up to earning that ranking. And so when it comes to your elections, you can feel safe, you can feel secure. I always like to preface that by saying that, can anybody tell me an election in Arkansas that was stolen in the last 20 years? Or can you tell me of a candidate who claimed that their election was stolen in the last 20 years, that it was legitimately proven that it was actually stolen? And if you can, then that will give you a good indicator that we have safe, secure elections. But guess what? There's always something that we're going to have to keep our eye on, because somebody's always wanting to mess with the system in order to gain an advantage. And what I find is that every Arkansan wants a safe, secure, and feel that their vote counted, and that their vote counted only once. That's why I think it's important that we go in and we make sure that every citizen of Arkansas truly is a citizen of Arkansas and truly is a legal citizen of the United States of America. President Trump is working with an executive order, and one of the things that I will be charged with as Secretary of State, I will no longer be a legislator, but I've got 16 years of legislative experience that's going to serve to be valuable when it comes to dealing with the elections and all things that touch elections, is that we will be compliant with whatever is passed down from the federal government, but also will be compliant with the legislators that are going to pass laws that affect us in the state. So my job will be as Secretary of State is to be an enforcer of laws that have either been passed down from President Trump or from our current legislator and our current governor. Because one of the things I have as an advantage going into the Secretary of State is that I have a long-term relationship with the majority of the legislators, such as John, that's going to be returning, and others. And I'm fully confident that Governor Sanders is going to be our next governor as well, and I have a good working relationship with her. And so being able to take all that experience that I've accumulated over the last 16 years, I'll be able to go into the office ahead of the learning curve, not behind the learning curve, utilize those relationships, utilize all that experience that I've shown as a legislator to get us to the #1 ranking, and be able to continue that forward to make sure you feel that you have safe and secure elections. The second area is with regards to business, because there's 3 areas the Secretary of State is primarily responsible for: elections, dealing with businesses, and overseeing the Capitol grounds. And when it comes to the area of businesses, I have a good reputation. In fact, you check with the State Chamber of Commerce and you'll find that they're supportive. And you'll find also that as far as my voting history and dealing with businesses, that I have a strong working relationship with them. And one of my goals is going to be this: if I'm elected to be the Republican candidate on the ballot to go into the fall against the one Democratic opponent on the Secretary of State race, what I want to spend my time doing after March 3rd is meeting with businesses of all sides and saying, what is it that you want us to look at removing as far as a burden on you that the Secretary of State has authority over? Because sometimes there's this thing called unintended consequences. Unintended consequences is when you just go in and do something, but you don't think it fully through, and it may seem like a good idea at the time, but in reality it'll come back to bite you later. And so my goal will be, after I clear the March 3rd primary and I become your Republican candidate for the Secretary of State, is to begin to meet with the businesses of all sizes, because I own a small business. I own a sign business and embroidery business, all kind of signage and embroidery. My daughter runs that company for us. And then on the other side, I'm the founder and board president of a 501c3 nonprofit faith-based child care center that my daughter-in-law runs. We take babies from infants all the way up through after-school and summer programs. And so I see it from the nonprofit side, but I see it from the business side. And what I want to do is meet with the people that whatever I decide to do as Secretary of State, or whatever the legislature decides to do that affects the Secretary of State, and hear it from the businesses, because we shouldn't be going in and saying, we're going to do this without them having a voice in it, because when you do, then they have to live the consequences of our actions that may have unintended consequences that would really end up hurting the businesses. So when it comes to the Capitol grounds, by the way, a revamp of the website, I think that as an elected official, that you as citizens, I'd be able to go to the Secretary of State's website, and there'd be a big bold button that says campaign reports. And you hit that button, and you shouldn't have to navigate through the system to find it. It irritates me a little bit that I got hunt for my own report, so I know it irritates citizens that they got hunt for it. So let's just put it out there and keep it clear and very transparent. Then when it comes to Capitol grounds, one of the things I want to do is improve access to the public to be able to park. I'm chair of what's called Senate efficiency on the Senate side. We're revamping all of our Senate rooms. We're going to increase seating capacity by 40 to the citizens. And also, we have been very conscientious to make sure that those committee rooms will be ADA compliant, so people with disabilities will have designated seating so they can be on the front row and not be having to find a place to sit. And we're going to increase on the Senate side capacity 40 plus. We need to increase parking for the public to be able to access easier the Capitol grounds, especially when we're in session taking care of the people's business, so you can get in easier. I'm down to about 7 minutes, and so I want to use the last 3 minutes of my time to give you a chance to ask me questions. If you would, just keep them short to the point so everybody else has a chance to ask a question. I'll keep my answers short and to the point. Yes, ma'am.
Does your child care business actually have children?
I love that. Yes, ma'am, and we receive no government funding. Our parents pay, and to give you an idea, for those of you that have kids, just show you we're not in money-making business. I think for infants, we charge $165 a week. For toddlers, we're $125 a week. I set it up as a nonprofit because it's really a ministry. I'm in the ministry, 47 years in ministry, pastor of Missionary Baptist Church, have all of my life. My wife's retired public school educator, 39 years. Now she's on the Benton School Board. And so we're very ministry minded, and we just want to see young kids get saved and families have good, strong, safe child care for their children if they choose to have to use child care. But no federal money. Okay. Anybody else? My timer went off. I got about a minute and a half. Is that what I got, guys? Okay. So a little bit more about my personal family. My wife and I have been married 46 years. She's a native of Benton. I've been in the ministry for 47 years, currently pastor of Saline Missionary Baptist Church right outside Benton. I own the daycare center, own a small business. We got 3 kids. We just got grandbaby number 8 Friday night. What is today? Saturday. We got grandbaby number 8 Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Got a brand new baby girl, and so we have a very strong family. Actually, all my kids go to the church that I pastor. All my grandkids go to the church I pastor. Very strong, fundamental Christian, conservative. Check my record. I'll be glad to answer any questions afterwards if you have any. I am going to go out to my car because I didn't bring them in. I've got 14-inch inflatable hammers I give out to the kids, and I saw one little girl run around here. I'm going to go out and get that and bring that back in. If you want one, I'll leave a few over on the table, and then once time allows, I'm going to step away because I've got another event to get to on the other side of the state. So any other questions? I would appreciate your vote. I'm Kim Hammer, running for Secretary of State. I'd be honored to be your next Secretary of State if you'll allow me to get past the primary. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris, you have the stage, sir. Yeah, he'll throw those paddles on us. He'll
can you hear me? Fantastic. Thank you so much for putting this on and giving us the opportunity to share with you our vision for the state and what it is that we want to do concerning the duties of the Secretary of State's office. Gun Owners of Arkansas, it's great to see you guys again too, and proud to say that I am endorsed by Gun Owners of Arkansas, so that tells you a little bit about where I lean on some of those actions. I am Brian Norris, just like Chuck, not related. Good luck forgetting it. Don't forget it when you go to the polls. But I'm looking for the opportunity to earn your votes. No one's ever given me anything, and I'm not sitting up here like a normal politician and just asking you to give it to me. I just want a fair shot at earning it from you. You know, I'm a native Arkansan. I was born in the Delta, born in Truman, born to a single mom, grew up like the majority of Arkansans do, poor. Unnecessarily so in my opinion. There's no reason for our state to be in the positions that it's in. But I knew what I didn't want to become when I grew up, and I knew what I had, which was everything I needed, and I'm grateful for my mother for that, and I'm grateful for my community because they did support and help me growing up a lot. They invested in me. When it was known that I had dyslexia, teachers would open up their doors early for me. They would hang out when I would be walking back home to help me with this issue. And that paid off because I was able to get into university, but then 9/11 happened, so my college degree earning higher education took about a 26-year break before I could get my master's in business transformational leadership. I have a project management certificate, and I have my business management degree for my bachelor's. But I did get into Arkansas State University. 9/11 happened, and I felt the call to serve. I thought I was just going to take like a 4-year break to go and do my duty, but it ended up being a 21-year career, multiple combat deployments, and there's nothing that I would trade for that. But during that time, I held every leadership position that enlistment can have, all the way from team leader to operations sergeant major, and all of the education that comes along with that. And being combat tested in those environments, and leading in NATO environments and multicultural environments, and then leading in garrison and getting all the different feels for what that takes, and they're all very different. I was not a sergeant major, but I did hold the billet. You know, if the government can give you more responsibility and accountability without paying you for it, they will absolutely do it, and they did that for me for a while, but I did hold the position. You can think of an operations sergeant major as something like a COO of a medium to large size business. So I've got all of that experience. And from that, there's a note that I would like. Some of my commanders wrote about me. One that I'll tell you. Top 1 NCO that I've ever ranked in my career. Top 20% that I have seen in the United States Army in over 21 years of service. That's what he wrote about me in that service. Since retiring, I've become a project manager for a Fortune 500 company. I manage global projects. So I manage projects. Right now I got Belgium, I got Germany, I got Australia, India, got some in Mexico and across the United States. Anything that you can think of when it comes to CRM, SAP, building factories, infrastructure network, all that stuff. I've done it all. My last evaluation, I had a 98% customer satisfaction rate. I've never had a project that was not in on time, under budget, and within scope. That's the real KPIs that I'm going to bring to the Secretary of State's office. Tangible, not talking points, factual data, and we will define success, and we will create a plan and drive to success. And I've already started talking to small business owners across the state because I started with the presumption that I'm going to win this thing. Because it's me versus me in this race as far as I'm concerned. So I started asking them a long time ago, what it is you need, what looks like success to you, and how can we help you achieve success? The biggest thing they come back with, I can do more, I want to do more, but I don't want to deal with the crap that it takes in order to do more. Okay? So on day 1, I'm going to do a Doe-style audit of everything business related for the purview of the Secretary of State's office. If it's not signed by the governor and codified in law, it goes away. I won't even entertain it. And anything that I can do with the reduction of fees, or the reduction of franchise taxes, or anything else, it goes away. When it comes to the website, recently, a $3 billion company, I transitioned everything that they do, user-facing, for everything that they do on their systems. And we flipped the switch overnight, and the 83-year-old secretary that was up front in Ditch Witch didn't have to make a phone call to figure out how to use it the next day, which I think is a pretty marker of success, right? So I've got extreme experience in doing that, and I can promise you this, that website will be completely changed by the time I'm done. It will be easily accessible, you will know where to go, and the information will be readily available for you to use. When it comes to elections, your vote is sacrosanct to me. 1.3 million gravestones around this world have a service member laying underneath it for someone that paid the ultimate sacrifice, and a few of those are friends of mine that I made in my service. I'm going to treat it accordingly. I'm the only candidate that supports President Trump's agenda of election integrity. And right now, when we talk about following the law, Trump signed an executive order in May of 2025, and we're not in compliance with it. Now, I tend to think that the chief executive of the United States of America, with DNI Tulsi Gabbard, the CIA, the NSA, and all of that apparatus underneath him, probably knows a little bit more about world events than I do. So when he says that we need to stop playing around with some stuff, then we might want to listen to him just a little bit about it and figure out the rest later. We see issues that happen all over the states when it comes to different aspects of our elections. We may want to exercise some prudence and shore up those vulnerabilities before we just go running full speed into it. There may not have ever been a problem in Arkansas, but are we seriously going to wait until there is one? Here's the biggest problem with our election machines right now. And I'm not anti-machine. President Trump laid out an agenda to have machines, and I think we need to follow his agenda in order to have the machines, so we can make sure they're secure. But here's the biggest problem we have right now. Beyond them being a privately owned company, beyond them not being subject to FOIA, beyond us not having a chain of custody of everything they do, they operate on Windows OS 10 or older. I just finished a project in a global corporation that listed Windows 10 as an extreme risk for security and finances because it's no longer in support from Microsoft, meaning you do not get security patches. You will not get upgrades. It is no longer serviced by the company that made it, and we're about to go and vote on it. That's a problem. That's not thinking about the second, third order effects of the things that you're implementing throughout. I never went into a village or a house or did an operation where I didn't in detail think through the second, third order effects of my decisions because lives were on the line. And one thing I asked my wife to put on my gravestone somewhere at it is he never lost a soldier in combat. Because I put in the work in the front to think through everything it was that we're doing. And that's the same thing that I'm going to bring to the Secretary of State's office is accountability and discipline. To do the work. I will work. I've driven almost 37,000 miles. I've been to over 260 events. I've conducted, I can't tell you how many interviews, all to put into work to show the people of Arkansas that I'm willing to roll my sleeves up and do what it takes to get the job done. I don't want to go to your cocktail party. I don't want to go play golf with you. I'm not going to move to Little Rock. I'm going to go and work, and I'm going to go home with my family. And I'm going to see this as a stewardship, because I want to be a steward of a seat for a brief moment in time that's owned by you and be held accountable to you and to answer to you. And when I'm done, I'm going to go back home and join the rest of you and deal with the consequences of all the policies and things that I put into effect as Secretary of State. I think that's what you owe. When it comes to the Capitol grounds, I'm taking the door off my hinges and I'm putting it in the storage closet. You want to know what I'm doing? Go hang out in the lobby. That's transparency. When it comes to your access, I'm not going to look for new parking spots. I'm going to take them away from lobbyists and legislatures and put a sign up that says, reserved for private Arkansas citizens. And when you go into the committee rooms, you're going to find that same reservation on the front row. And I'll direct the Capitol Police. Does that say 1 minute? Okay. Look, you gave the mic to a retired United States Army First Sergeant. You're lucky I got this far. I'm going to stop there, but look, I want to be the most transparent Secretary of State in history. I want to put more money in your pocket. I want to fix the generational wealth issue and poverty that we have in this state by bringing opportunities here like we've never had before, because I want to cultivate an environment to where my grandkids are able to thrive in Arkansas and not just survive, and I don't have to drive down the interstate to have a relationship with them and my grandkids because they had to go to Texas or California in order to thrive in this world and not just survive. I'm tired of the rest of the nation and the rest of the world defining us. It's time that we realize our own destiny and manifest it, hold our head up high, and let them know who we are, and us identify ourselves, and stop relying on other people to do it for us. With that, I would love to take some questions from you. I think I've got about 30 seconds, maybe one. I will stay as long as I can. I do have to get to Fort Smith. What you got?
What executive order are we not in compliance with?
It's Safeguarding and Preservation of the American Elections Act signed by President Trump. It's actually codified in law through the NDA as well, and what it says is you can't use foreign-made components in critical infrastructure. President Barack Obama put it in a policy letter, and it was signed into law by Biden that identifies and designates elections as critical infrastructure. So that means we can't have foreign-made components in it. More than 80%, I think, if not 90% of the components in the ES&S machines in Arkansas are manufactured in China from an adversarial nation. I'm not a fan of that. Yes, sir.
What position do you currently hold?
I am not a politician, and I wear that like a badge of honor. I will not be a politician. I will be a steward of a seat that you own, and then I'm going to come home and change my phone number and email address and let y'all figure the rest of the life out.
That guy's gonna hit you with that.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Brian. Where do you hail from? Where do you hail from?
I was born in Truman, but I'm in Batesville now because I didn't want to deal with mosquitoes, so I got to the Ozarks.
Batesville, Arkansas, okay. I heard Senator Hammer say he was from Benton over there, so I'm just curious where you were from. Appreciate you making me drive. I guess our third candidate that we had is Ms. Hart. Ms. Harrison showed up. I guess maybe she is not here today. Next we will go to Land Commissioner, and while Christian Olson is making his way up, I want to introduce our panel over here. We've got Lance Stinson and Cameron Keller. Cameron, I don't know what your title is. Are you Western District AFP? Very bottom, red button.
I'll just yell it out to you. My title is Director of Grassroots Engagement.
Director of Grassroots Engagement with the
Specifically the River Valley.
for the River Valley, for Americans for Prosperity. You held out of Greenwood, correct?
Yes.
And hey, y'all are gonna find out here in a minute, he brought the refreshments today, so
I did.
very much appreciate you. Land Commissioner, that's another one of those jobs that people know very little about.
That's right. That's right.
Mr. Christian Olson, man, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yes, sir. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay.
I broke it. I'm sorry.
Now? Ooh, there we go. Okay.
There we go. Should I just talk really loud?
Hello, hello.
How about that? How about now? Okay. There we go. My name is Christian Olson, and I'm running for State Land Commissioner. And I like to say that if you don't know what the Land Commissioner's Office does, that's a good thing. It's a lot like not knowing who your local prosecutor is. It means that you've been staying out of trouble. Okay? We'll get to that in just a minute. So, in a Republican primary, which I'm in, I like to say that there's three questions that have to be asked. The first one is who's the most Republican. The second is who's the most conservative. The third one is who's the most qualified. Okay? That last one is for Republicans, Democrats, Independents, anyone at all. But I'm a Republican, and I have been all my life. I started working in Republican campaigns when I was a teenager. When I was 14 years old, I told my dad that my interest in history had turned into an interest in politics. And I told him I wanted to start learning more. And so the next time a Republican knocked on our door, my dad volunteered me. So I started going door to door, I started phone banking, I started to learn how campaigns work. It was a lot of fun. That was 26 years ago. But during that time, after going to college, I ended up inviting a pretty girl from church to go with me to a Republican dinner. And that was our first date. And in 2012, we got engaged at the Republican National Convention. So Republican Party politics have been part of our relationship in our life this whole time. But we know that there's a difference between being Republican and being conservative, right? Conservative is a set of ideas, it's a set of principles, it's a set of policies, it's a approach to life. My name is Christian, and I am a Christian. I believe that there's an order to the universe. I believe that if you do these things, you tend to get these results, right? It's almost like physics, but not quite, because we've got people and human nature. But human nature does tend to work in fairly predictable ways most of the time. So if you create a system that incentivizes certain actions, you're going to get more of those actions, right? So I'm conservative all the way through. I was homeschooled. I'm homeschooling my 2 children right now. My wife is at home with our 2 boys, Seth and Matthew. Seth is 10, Matthew's 7. They were going to come with me today up until we knew that Matthew had a sore throat, so they actually get to spend today at home. We were up in Batesville last night and Rogers yesterday morning, and so we've been on the road a lot, so they get a day of rest. Not me, because the election is right around the corner, so I keep coming and going. But I'm conservative. I'm pro-life. I'm for low taxes. I'm for transparent, local, limited government. Okay? Now, part of the reason why I am is because of the nature of the Land Commissioner's Office. We're going to talk about the third question real quick, is who's the most qualified, and that's going to be me. And the reason for that is that I've actually worked in the Land Commissioner's Office. I'm running for an office that I know how it works. I'm running for an office where I know how it functions. I know the importance of the job. So now we're going to talk about what the office actually does. 90% of what the Land Commissioner's Office does is sell tax delinquent property. So if you don't pay your real estate taxes, after about 2 years, your county collector will start sending you nasty mail. And that nasty mail will say, please pay your taxes. At the end of 2 years, if those taxes are still not paid, the county collector sends that to the Land Commissioner. And the Land Commissioner will start to send you nasty mail for 2 more years, roughly, asking you to pay your taxes. And if you don't, the Land Commissioner is the one that puts the property up for auction, a public sale, okay? So this is a crucial job to support all 75 counties. Nobody likes taxes. Nobody likes real estate taxes. People say, Christian, real estate taxes are unfair. Guess what? I agree with you. I haven't found a tax that I really do like. But as awful as taxes are, as much as we don't like taxes, this is the tax that supports your counties more than any other tax, all right? And there are some counties across Arkansas, you might be familiar with this, where the real estate tax is the biggest bulk of the county's revenue to pay for public schools, and to pay for roads, and to pay for public safety. And even though I don't like those taxes, your local government is the most accountable to you. I don't like paying my federal taxes because it's, I write that check and I pray that they don't do something awful with it, and I think DOJ has shown that they're inclined to do all sorts of crazy things with it, right? But our state government spends our dollars better, but it's the local government that has the most accountability and frankly the most friction sometimes on those discussions about where those dollars should be spent. But the good thing is, as your county elected officials, they're likely to run into you at the grocery store or at church or even Thanksgiving, right? Your local officials are and should be the most accountable to you, the voter. So that's what the office does, and that's my experience in the Land Commissioner's Office. I was there for about 2 years. I worked on policy, and I worked on helping people pay their taxes. A huge priority for me is the customer service that people receive when they walk into the office. When people come into that office, usually they're there because we're threatening to sell their property. That's not really the beginnings of a really friendly relationship, is it? But it was drilled into my head that anything we could do to make that process painless as possible. We would sit down, help them figure out exactly how to fill out the forms, how to look up their parcel number. We'd look that up for them. I was even a notary so that we could process their payment, get their property off the books as quickly and as painlessly as possible. We just wanted a smooth process. And usually we could get them to leave the office happier than when they came in. That's good customer service. I think Commissioner Thurston, who I worked for, had a fantastic focus on that. Commissioner Tommy Land, who is term limited and can't run again, has continued that focus. And to me, that's a #1 priority, is to continue that. The second thing is, as I've traveled the state, I've put almost 20,000 miles on my vehicle. As I've traveled the state, getting to know the issues in each county, it's become very, very clear that each county really needs the freedom to tackle their challenges the way that they see fit. I think that's really important. And I asked the county collector, like, if I were to get elected, what can I do to make your life better? And she said, well, get us some money faster. Because there's about an 11-month holding period between those taxes being collected on behalf of the county and those taxes actually being sent back to the county. So I want to do whatever I can to shorten that period and get that money back to the county faster. You know, there are some counties where you can't even buy a pair of shoes in the entire county. As somebody from Little Rock, that surprised me, right? I don't tend to think that way. Now, it's also their choice. You could go up to let's see, in Searcy County, you can go north to Harrison in Boone County, or you can go south to Clinton and Van Buren County, to the Walmart there. Searcy County chose not to have a Walmart. That was their choice. That's fine. I don't see any reason why we should be telling them how they should be conducting their business, right? But what that means is that they don't really have a sales tax that they can lean on if they were to reduce their property tax. So I'm a big fan of getting out of the way and letting the counties tackle their challenges the way that they see fit, the way that they want to. I like to say I'm from Little Rock, but I try not to act like it. Little Rock doesn't have to decide everything for every county. So again, my name is Christian Olson. I'm the most Republican, I'm the most conservative, and I'm the most qualified. On the qualifications, not only did I work in the Land Commissioner's office, but I also was Deputy Securities Commissioner for a few years. We regulated the investment advisors and broker dealers. And so I've taken agencies through audit cycles, through budget cycles, and I've hired a lot of folks working for the state. But VoteChristian.com is my website. My name is Christian Olson, running for Land Commissioner. I'm happy to stay around and answer any questions, but I'll take any questions right now, if you have them. All right, 2 minutes.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anything to do with personal property tax outside of real estate tax?
Thank goodness, no. No. Any other questions? It's a good question, but it's limited just to the real estate tax.
Just shows how little I know, and we're trying to figure out more of who controls what, so
Sure.
appreciate you being here. Thank you.
No, of course. Happy to help however I can. Any other questions? I will say that after about 20,000 miles on the campaign trail, that is because I value the relationship the office has with the counties and with the communities all across Arkansas. And I think that's really important, not only to get out and to talk and tell you who I am, but also to listen to you, find out who you are and what's important to you. So thank you for letting me be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I will tell you that his opponent, and it's really not an opponent because it's a turned out seat, so it's an open seat. But I did invite Cole Jester to be here, and I did not get a response on that. Oh, yeah. I didn't answer it, brother. Hey, guys, I know y'all travel a long way, and I appreciate y'all. I tell you the truth, we get overlooked a lot. We're over here in the flyover area. Nobody comes over here, but we do appreciate y'all. Guys, I want to take a short break. And once again, I want to mention that Cameron Keller with Americans for Prosperity took care of the refreshments for us today. So we're going to go through this door right here. There's refreshments in there. Help yourself, come back out, and we're going to get into this next section, which is going to be Polk County specific. And that'll be of interest to all of you. I think Ms. Deborah Bushman will be up first. Y'all go eat. Go get your plate. Make it quick, though.
That's a good thing.
All right, guys, y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let's go. Okay. I'll tell you what, we're going to start this next section, and we have open mic, which we have historically done. We've opened mic to anybody that's filed, legitimately filed, regardless of party. People get confused. Tea Party is not a party. We're an advocacy group, but we are not a party. You won't see us on the ballot anywhere. It's just a name. So with that said, we do open up the microphone to any candidate that's filed. Don't matter, Libertarian, Independent, Republican, Democrat. I don't think we've even had a Green Party filed in Polk County, but they would have opportunity to the mic if they did. So anyway, guys, with our next section, we're going to start with a candidate that is honestly a bulldog. She's a bulldog, and she takes care of us really well. She happens to be family with me, but I hope she don't hold that against me. But guys, with that said, I want to introduce y'all and give the mic to our prosecuting attorney, Ms. Deborah Bushman.
Can y'all hear me? Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for this opportunity to be here. Thank you to all of the people, Dawn, Tom, Miss Linda, who put this on, who gave up their time to open this forum up so that y'all can learn about the candidates and make informed decisions. That is such an important part of democracy, is to have well-informed voters who make good decisions about who serves them. Each of these people is here to serve you. They've given up their time, their money, their effort to get up here and try to win a job to serve you, and that is something that is a hallmark and bedrock of our democracy and how our country works, and it's a very good thing. So thank you, Dawn, and thank you everybody who worked so hard to put this on. I just am grateful for the opportunity to serve this community. I grew up in Polk County, and I'm grateful to come back here and work alongside of all of you and serve this county and Montgomery County and have my kids grow up here. This is a great place to live and work. It's a great place to work, to raise kids and to have a family, and it's because it is a safe place to live and work. I'm a member of the Southside Church of God. I'm married to Paul Bushman. He's out there filming and live streaming, so there's a record of anything I say wrong or right. And we have two boys, Ben and Sam. They go to Mena Public Schools. I serve a God of justice. He cares about kids. He cares about the vulnerable. He cares about the elderly. He cares about the people that can't protect themselves. And he cares about each one of you. And it's with that in mind that I've served my first term here in office as a prosecuting attorney. I've been a prosecutor throughout my career as a lawyer. I started in 2007 in Lone Oak County, and then I prosecuted in Benton County, and then I came back home to raise a family. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and now I'm here working for you here in Polk and Montgomery counties. And my first term, my focus was all about protecting those vulnerable people and serving our God who loves justice and sticking up for kids, the elderly, and the people that can't protect themselves. I'm proud of our record that we've worked hard to prosecute people who have been predators against kids. I'm proud that we've gotten life sentences for people that have preyed on children. I'm proud that we did that in conjunction with the Mena PD, and in conjunction with the Sheriff's Office, we were able to get over $100,000 back for an elderly couple here in this county that was victimized and fell prey to online scammers who came and took their money. I'm proud that we work hard to protect those people. Because the reason this is a great place to live and work is because it's a safe place to live and work. This is not Portland. This is not LA. This is not Seattle. We still have the rule of law. The people here care. You guys care about justice. You care about the rule of law. And because of that, I'm able to do my job to keep this place safe. We work closely with the child advocacy centers, and we have an awesome child advocacy center here. If you haven't seen it, it's in the old Chiclo's building. You guys should stop there and ask for a tour. They do wonderful things to protect kids, and they are a big part of what we do. I heard a quote recently. It's John Locke. He's a philosopher, and it's where there is no law, there is no freedom. And at first blush, that sounds kind of crazy, right? Laws are rules. They tell us what we can do. They tell us what we can't do. How can there be freedom in law? Well, you look at places like Portland. You look at places like LA and Seattle. There's no rule of law. They may have laws, but they're not enforcing them. And they are not safe. They are not able to go to school and work and church and do the things that are the hallmark of freedom here in our country. They can't do those things because there's no rule of law. It's so important that we enforce the rule of law here. And I'm proud to say that we do that here because you guys back me up. In Polk County and in Montgomery County, if there's somebody that doesn't want to be held accountable for what they've done, and they say, I'm not going to take responsibility for the things I've done to kids or the elderly or the vulnerable in this community, we go to a jury trial. And in Polk and Montgomery counties, you guys back me up. And when there's a guilty verdict, there's a penalty. And it's not just about retribution. It is not just about punishment. It's about keeping you all safe. Identifying the predators, making them known so people can keep their kids away from them, and putting them in places where they can't harm people, and that's the penitentiary. So I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for the opportunity to serve. This was my first term. I will start my second term in 2027, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. And I'm I'm in my office in Mena and I'm in my office in Mount Ida every day of the week. So if you have questions or you need help or I can serve you in any way or there's something you want me to know, stop by, call, make an appointment. We'll visit, we'll sit down, let me know how I can serve you better. Thank you. And if you have questions, just let me know.
Any further questions? Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You're doing a great job. I should put on my glasses. I know I'm going to go to Coroner next. I know Mr. Lundberg is here. Is Ms. Kesterson here? Did Ms. Kesterson make it? Really? Okay. Ms. Lundberg, if you would, sir, please, please come take the mic and tell us about yourself. I did invite, and I thought you had confirmed.
My name is Garrett Lundberg. Okay, yeah, that's way better. My name is Garrett Lundberg. I'm running for coroner. Most of us, I think, all want the same things: dignity and respect when it comes to the coroner's office. It takes a clear understanding that behind every case is a person and a family that's grieving, and it takes attention to detail. I've served as deputy coroner for 9 years. I'm a certified medical legal death investigator. When you go to someone's house, it's one of the worst days of their lives, and it's important that that is treated with due respect and professionalism that it deserves. I'm running for office because, for me, public service should be grounded in honesty, accountability, and competence. And that's what I strive to do every day in my job as deputy coroner, and what I'll strive to do as coroner. Any questions from the coroner's office? I know this is not an office that everyone understands a lot. I'm happy to answer any questions that you'll have about it.
A little louder, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
There
Okay.
you go, that's better.
Does anyone have any questions about the coroner's office and how it's ran and what that involves? Not a lot of people know a whole lot about it unless they have to. The main purpose of the coroner's office is to pronounce any death that is unattended. That means a doctor is not present or a hospice nurse is not present. So a coroner's office will pronounce that death, and using medical records and consulting with doctors will determine the cause of death. That's all your unattended deaths like fatalities on highways, any death at home that's not a hospice nurse, murders, suicides, any kind of death that is unattended. We investigate the scene of the death in cooperation with our law enforcement, who, by the way, our local law enforcement is the best. They continue to keep our community safe, and they're really dedicated servants to our community, and I really want to thank law enforcement because my job would not be possible without them. Any other?
What kind of training do you have to learn how to determine cause of death?
I've certified in medical legal death investigation, which means that we're trained to use medical records to be able to determine the cause of death. Also, experience helps a lot. Because when you've seen cases over 9 years, you learn the ins and outs of the medical field and what signs point to different diseases. And then that is backed by medical history and experience to be able to determine the correct cause of death. Yes, that's the medical legal death investigator. That's the certification to qualify you for that. And it runs through a lot of different things, all the cases that you would encounter, how to investigate those, how to do your job well, so that in Arkansas, one misconception is that everyone has an autopsy, which is not true in Arkansas. There's a state crime lab, and they investigate and do autopsies on any cases that seem suspicious or are unknown or involve a crime. Other than that, if it's a natural cause death, the coroner uses the medical legal training to be able to determine the cause of death.
Are you the one that determined that it's natural cause?
In coordination with the police, yes. In a case where it is debatable, generally state detectives are there as well. Any other questions? Well, it'd be an honor of mine to earn your trust and your vote. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we're going to go to the assessor race. I know you're both here. I know y'all are both here. Okay. Miss Amy Martin, Miss Carla Posey, if y'all would make it over here to Lance and draw a straw. We'll see who gets to speak first, please. I know y'all both want to talk first. Who's first? Miss Amy, come on. You're used to public speaking, correct? No.
Okay, can you hear me okay? All right, he just asked me if I was used to public speaking, and honestly, I'm not. Okay, I've been teaching for 19 years, and you would think being in front of 7th graders for 19 years that I would be ready for this, but I'm scared to death, because the big difference is I've got your attention, and I usually don't on the 7th graders. I constantly, okay? And you actually want to hear what I have to say. I've been trying to figure out what I need to do, what I need to say. I was decided against note cards and all of that stuff because I didn't want to stand up here and sound like a robot, basically. I'm just going to give you a brief history of where I came from. I was born and raised here in Polk County, lived here my entire life. And like you heard from a couple other candidates, when you live in Polk County, most of us have been raised coming from a bad situation. And I did. I never went without, thanks to community, but I didn't have a lot growing up. I learned the value of money at a very young age. If it wasn't for church members, if it wasn't for community leaders, and especially for extended family, aunts, uncles, and my grandparents, I would have not got where I am today. They taught me and instilled in me hard work. If I want to get and better myself in any way, I've got to put the work in. And those of you that know me personally know that there's been very few times in my life where I have not either been attending college while working multiple jobs or working multiple jobs. As a matter of fact, I'm doing that right now. I teach middle school 7th grade American history at all day long, usually between 130 to 150, 60 kids. But I leave there and I go and I manage Papa's Cafe at night. So some of you may recognize me, and that's probably where from. Again, I came from a bad background, but I would not change it for anything. It taught me so much. It taught me how to strive for what I want. It taught me not to give up. And it taught me what the meaning of community and honesty is, which is things that I want to bring to you. Now, another question that I've been asked multiple times is why I want to leave education. And honestly, guys, this is a hard one because it's hard to explain it without making yourself look bad. And I want to make something clear right off the bat. If I'm not elected, I will continue in education. I love what I teach. I adore my students, both present and past. I even have students that are coming up that actually didn't want me to run because they wanted me as their teacher when they got old enough, okay? But education is not what it used to be. And as an old-fashioned educator like myself, it gets harder and harder to go into work daily. We deal with budget crunches. We deal with discipline, or lack of, shall I say. They want us to teach so much, but they take the time away from us and doesn't give us the option or the opportunity to be able to do what we need to do within the classroom. Those things alone are disheartening. The insurance is some of the worst that we have in the state of Arkansas, and we pay an outrageous amount for it. Kids are passed through like cattle, honestly. I'm not saying it's just our schools. I'm talking about across the nation. The states are so worried about numbers, about data, that they don't care if the kids are learning. AI has had a huge effect on education. They want everything done by the computers, which means I see kids that don't know how to spell. They don't know how to write. And I'm talking in 7th grade. And it's because the computer does everything for them. Those things and those types of things is what makes me want to leave education. Again, if I don't get elected, I will be in education continuously. Now let's move on. I've got a 1-minute warning, so let's move on. Experience. I'm going to tell you this is an open position. Neither of the candidates has experience within the assessor's office. So it's extremely important that you know what we do have. I have a background. I worked when I was going through college. I worked at 2 different financial institutions. There, I dealt with warranty deeds. I dealt with closing costs. I dealt with filing and credit reporting. I dealt with data. I dealt with just about any aspect of financial institution provides. So I do have experience in all of that. The other thing, closing costs, and that was for Arkansas and Oklahoma both. The other thing is management. I have managed several different places, and I'm still managing today. You need to be respectful with your employees and the citizens, and if you keep everyone happy while managing and making sure you're covered and doing the job that you need to do, then it will be done proficiently. And that's what we need. We need somebody in there that is going to make sure that everything runs proficiently. And that's not just when I'm talking about the people that work within that office. We are responsible for dealing with citizens. We're also responsible for dealing with companies, title mortgages, and things like that. We're also responsible for dealing with other offices within the courthouse. Okay? I'm being told to stop. They're going to run me off of here. I would love your support. If you have any questions, I will be roaming around here. I'm not leaving. So come find me, and I will do what I can to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. After this is over, I know the candidates, a lot of the candidates, and we're going to be hanging out, and they'll be over here at their tables with their stuff. So yeah, we do have meet and greet coming in. Thank you, Miss Amy. Appreciate it. Was that 6 minutes, Lance? Roughly 6, so you got that. If you go over, I have to bring her back up and let her have more time. Okay. Ms. Carla Posey.
So I'm going to have to use notes, sorry. But I would like to first say, good afternoon, family, friends, neighbors, and members of our community. My name is Carla Posey, and I am honored to stand before you as a candidate for county assessor. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for caring about the future of our county. I was born and raised right here in Mena. My parents, Carlos and Pam Posey, raised me, my 3 sisters, and my brother with strong values. Values built on hard work, honesty, responsibility. They taught us that your word matters, and the way you treat people matters. And those lessons shaped who I am and how I serve. I am the mother of 8 children, one of whom I lost in April of 24, and Nana to 21 wonderful grandchildren. My family is my greatest blessing. They remind me every day why integrity, compassion, and dedication are so important. When you have a big family, you learn patience, resilience, and importance of showing up even when life is hard. Those qualities have guided me throughout my life and my career. From a young age, I learned that if you want something in life, you work for it, and that is what I have always done. I have worked since I was old enough to hold a job. In 2006, I left Walmart to join Terminex, where I gained experience in inside sales, office management, outside sales, and pest service. During that time, I also worked 2 additional jobs, not because I had to, but because that is who I am. I believe in putting in the effort, doing what needs to be done, and giving my best to every responsibility I take on. Eventually, I stepped away from those extra jobs because outside sales and pest service required my full attention, and I wanted to give my best. I wanted to give my best work, the best to the work in front of me. In 2019, I accepted a position in the collector's office, and that is where my experience truly begins. I learned the importance of accountability, accuracy, and treating every taxpayer with respect. I learned that every person who walks through that door deserves to be heard, to receive clear answers, and to be treated with dignity. That is why I am running for county assessor. I am running because I believe in fairness, I believe in transparency, I believe in service, and I believe that every person in this county deserves an assessor's office they can trust. During my 7 years in the collector's office, I learned something important. Public service is about people, not paperwork. Every tax bill, every question, every concern represents a family, a business, a dream, or a struggle. I have worked face-to-face with thousands of residents, helping them navigate the system, understand their responsibilities, and get the answers they deserve. That experience matters because the assessor's office is not just about numbers, it's about accuracy, accountability, and trust. My work in the collector's office has given me a deep understanding of how property taxes impact communities, from homeowners to farmers to small business owners. Hands-on experience with the system and processes that connect the assessor's work to the collector's work. A proven record of customer service, treating every person with respect, patience, and professionalism. Insight into the challenges taxpayers face and the importance of assessments that are fair, consistent, and transparent. I have seen what happens when assessments are unclear or inaccurate. I have seen the frustrations when people feel unheard or confused, and I have also seen how much smoother things run when offices communicate, when staff are trained, and when the leadership is committed to do the things the right way. That is the kind of leadership I want to bring to the assessor's office. If elected, I will work every day to ensure fair and accurate assessments for every property owner, clear communication so taxpayers understand how their assessments are determined, modern, efficient processes that save time and reduce errors, a customer-first approach that treats every resident with dignity and respect. I want to build an office where people feel comfortable asking questions, confident in the answers they receive, and their concerns matter. I want to strengthen communication between county offices so that the taxpayers experience a smoother, more efficient process from start to finish. And I want to ensure that our staff have the training, tools, and support they need to serve the public with excellence. I am not running to make promises I cannot keep. I am running because I have already been doing the work, serving this county, learning the system from the inside, and understanding what needs to be done. 7 years in the collector's office has prepared me to step into the role of assessor with knowledge, experience, and a genuine commitment to the people of this county. I know the challenges, I know the needs, and I know the importance of getting it right. This county is my home, these people are my neighbors, and this work is personal to me. I'm asking for your support, your trust, and your vote, not just for me, but for a more efficient, more transparent, and more accountable assessor's office. Thank you for your time and support, and I look forward to serving you. And I'm not going to have time for questions, so I will be around here if y'all have any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, we've got some good candidates. Guys, our next one is, our Polk County Judge, position. But I do want to let y'all know that, at 11:13, I got a message from Bradley Garner saying that he won't be here today. He is at the ER with his wife. So, our debate, the big one that we had planned, we'd allocated an hour to it. We were going to really let these guys do what they do. But we don't have that. So, our current county judge, Brandon Ellison, gets to use his time. And, I'm gonna put 10 minutes on it, because I had y'all in an hour. But I'll give you, well, I don't think you need an hour, but, and I know you know the job, because you've been doing it. But,
Could you argue with them?
huh?
Couldn't you argue with them?
You want me to argue with you? I could, but the thing is, I mostly agree. Some things we can argue about, yes. You wanna argue, Brandon, or you just wanna tell them who you are and what you're doing? I say let's get it over with. Your Polk County Judge, Brandon Ellison.
Well, thank you. You know, the way I'm gonna do this may be a little different now that I don't have an opponent here, but I'm just gonna start, and I'm just gonna give you the opening that I prepared. So, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to serve as your county judge for the last several years. It's a passion of mine, and I feel like that we have got better and better. So, thank you for allowing me to do that. But for those of you that don't know me, I'll just kind of go over my background. I was raised out at Board Camp at a chicken and cattle farm, and in 1978 being a high school graduate. And after high school, I went to Wyoming and rough-necked in the oil field for a couple of years, and it was pretty cold up there, so I've only made a couple of winters out there. But I've only had 2 jobs since I was 21 years old, 2 of them. And the first job began when I talked a banker into loaning me $6,300 to buy a worn-out backhoe. And from there, developed a successful underground utility construction company, and we worked on projects installing water mains, sewer mains, storm drains, fire hydrants, manhole systems, and we performed road services. Along the way, we developed a sand and gravel operation. At our peak, we had 19 employees and over 20 pieces of heavy equipment. I operated the business for 26 years before selling it. And my second job began when the people of this county elected me to be county judge in 2011. It was a contested race, and my first campaign ever. And campaigns are really not all that much fun for any of you that haven't done it before. So it makes you appreciate your job when you have a tough campaign. But the reason I'm asking for re-election now is the same reason I asked you the first time. It's because we deserve to have our county managed efficiently. And good business practices, good conservative business practices should get us there. And I believe that my background and experience makes me uniquely qualified to do this job. 15 years ago, our rural county was broke. We struggled to make budget. We had over $1 million in debt, and that was real money 15 years ago. $1 million was real money. Our jail was in distress, and we're more financially stable now. We are more financially stable. We have no debt. We have eliminated property tax on roads. We have rehabilitated our jail and built a jail addition out of existing funds. We can retain our good employees by paying them better. Polk County is efficiently managed and a strong rural county. And this is my resume, indicating 41 years of relevant experience. And I hope you will consider re-electing me, Brandon Ellison, for Polk County Judge. And I think it's question time. So I'm just going to treat this just like we had in so questions. Panel?
Panel, Tom's standing up back there. I think he had an easement question.
Sort of. I can yell loud enough. I know a few months ago, and by the way, I encourage everybody to go to the Quorum Court. That's a very interesting thing. It is a citizen to hear what goes on at Corp, where your JPs, your local JPs, and judge kind of run the county.
Get on the microphone, Lance and Cameron had one. Well, come up here, Tom. I'll hand you my mic. Your show, but anyway.
One of the quorum court meetings I attended a few months ago, you passed, the JPs passed an ordinance requiring contractors to file a permit for placing utilities within county right of way. Personally, I think that's a good idea because you're responsible for 1,500 roughly miles of county access easement roads, whatever. Are you charging a permit fee for those permits, and have you considered that?
Yes, we have considered it. This is I'm glad you brought this up, because this is normally I like to have as few regulations as possible. I don't want to, I want to promote development as much as possible, but here's why this was necessary, and I'll get back to the permit fee later. This was necessary mostly because of one bad actor. Most of the others we can deal with. But we have one big, large company that, in my opinion, is extremely corrupt from one end to the other, that keeps billing the county for damaging their facilities when their facilities are not where they should be, or the proper depth. So that is why that came about. And as far as a permit fee, yes, we will have to charge a little one, but it's going to be extremely reasonable. $30 for a permit fee, and it could be multiple. It could be multiple locations.
Yeah, I got to thinking about that, having worked in the engineering and construction for many, many years and placed thousands of miles of fiber optic cable. There are some contractors who push the limit as far as if you're calling for 2 feet depth, sometimes you get 2 feet, sometimes you get 2 inches. Same thing on ditch crossings. I think you said your requirement is 36 inches below the bottom of the ditch, which is a good idea. But in order for you, the county, to ensure that it is being done properly, there probably should be some sort of inspection process that randomly spot checks. And I was thinking permit fees to cover that cost.
Yes, and of course, we haven't seen how it plays out yet, because there just hasn't been that much activity, but there will be, and we know there will be. And so if it's a large project, so I'll know that on the front end of it, and if it's going to require extensive inspection, then yes, we're gonna have to take a look at it. But most of the time, it's going to be, hey, we're going to go make a service. We're going to just a service, a water service, or whether it's telecommunications or whatever it is. So Polk County has never done that before. Now, we do have open cut permits for culverts or for water crossing. We already had that. But this is more of a linear down the road situation where the telephone companies have previously got on the edge of the shoulders, cut our culverts, buried the line 2 or 3 inches deep, and wonder why they get cut with a road grader. And so it's become a problem. And so that is the purpose of all that. So, another question? Mr. Anderson.
Pardon me for being ignorant, but did I hear you say earlier you eliminated the property tax on roads?
Absolutely did.
What does that mean?
Well, it means you pay 0 bills on property tax. 0. No, on your road bills, on your personal property, on your real estate property tax. When you look at your tax bill, you're going to see 0 mills. You're going to see, if you're in the Mena School District, you're going to see 35 mills. And you're going to see 3.4 mills for county. And you're going to see 0 mills for road.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a millage, 0.
Would you briefly educate us on what you actually oversee?
I will in my close, and I can do it now, but the list is exhaustive. exhaustive.
It seems that way.
It really is, and let me just go here, and I think you'll hear some in my close, but I'll just tell you this. 1 minute, I may be figuring out if we've done enough due diligence on an indigent deceased person to figure out if we can cremate it or not.
Okay.
And the next moment, I'm figuring out what type of material I need to use in a 3-foot subgrade on a county road.
Wow.
So it's one end to the other. And Arkansas is a very, very unique system of counties. It's county government in Arkansas is not like any other county or any other state in the union. Kentucky has something fairly close. I love it. I absolutely love it. But it is a broad, broad thing, and it's very, very important who we ask to do this job or who we elect to do this job. It needs to be somebody with some really broad knowledge and willing to learn and dig into it. So I'll cover a few of those things, but that's a great question.
I do have a second question.
Okay.
I was told, and you stated that you took us from in the red to in the black. Appreciate that. But what were the intentional things that you did? Where did you find that money? How did you, like, if you could briefly explain to me what you found was important versus what you cut, and the reasons briefly on why you cut those things, so that I can kind of understand how you did that.
There were tons of things over time, okay? It wasn't one thing, except this. There's lots of things, but the one big thing was we went after money that we would have to spend anyway, that I had to match, and a lot of it was in road, and where we could get, a lot of I've built 25 new bridges, actually probably more, but I know of 25 that I quickly looked at before I came. And I would say on 70 or 80% of those, I got at least half funding, and some of them 75% funding. So this is effort, right? I mean, we have to put out effort. And it wasn't just me. We have other county officials that go after grants and get money for that. So most of our practices were starting in 2011. This didn't all happen in 1 year, right? So our budgets have not really increased except personal services, and that's personnel, that's salaries, that's health insurance, that's this, that's that. And that's another thing, is health insurance, and I can talk about that later. But it was a lot of little things. It was not increasing the budget for several years in a row. And you can ask our county clerk and our circuit clerk and our treasurer, and I, of course, begged them, don't raise your budget. Let's try to figure out how to do it inside our budget. And for several years, it was that way. Of course, inflation hit us pretty hard about 4 years ago, and so that changed a little bit. But it was more of our revenue going up. Our sales tax has grown nicely. It's grown nicely. And you can look back and see how it's grown nicely. And part of it is because we have promoted development things, and it's brought in more sales tax, and it's not spending money on things we shouldn't spend money on, and it's been efficient management, basically, is what's happened. And it's got us where we are. It's just like the jail situation. Okay, with the jail, we had to do something, right? But we didn't do it all in 1 year. We made a plan. I offered a plan to the state. Don't close our jail. Here's what we want to do. We want to rehabilitate our old jail so that we're in compliance. We did that. Then we're going to add beds later after we get that done. And we did it in steps. It's about a 5-year program. And we were able to do it with our existing funds. And it's back to this. It's like you have to efficiently manage these things and make good decisions on little things. If you're making good decisions on dimes, you're going to work out good on dollars. And that's, I can't take all the credit for that. We have other elected officials, the sheriff, that we all understand that. And we know that our people that work for us are likely to get a raise. People were not getting raises 15 years ago. And you can ask the people that work for the county. We're not getting raises. We've been able to retain our people now. And so it's a whole different thing. So I think it's a business experience, just to be honest.
Okay, thank you. So would you say that your perspective would be like the turtle wins the race, like slow and steady wins the race?
I've always said that, and I did it in my business. It's like I hit singles. I didn't go for home runs. You hit singles. You have to be diverse, and you have to stay the course, and you have to have a good long-term view of how you're going to do things. And that's the same way I approach the road system, which I personally love the road system, but I only get to spend about half of my time on the road system. And that's my passion. My passion is really, though, to make sure that we have efficient management and that our taxpayers, including me, are not paying more than we should, and that we're getting the most bang for our buck out of this. We have less employees today than we did 15 years ago at the county.
Thank you. Well, I may be a differing opinion on your roads than most people. I hear everybody telling me that you got the worst roads ever. I'm from out of state, and I'm telling you right now, this is the best roads I've ever been on. And so,
Well, what you're hearing from are people that live in the farmost parts, remote areas of the county.
She does.
I do live in a far, I
Okay.
have lived further from town than I do currently, or from a town than I do currently, but I don't know if it's just that people have been here all their life, they don't know what they have, but I have traveled all over the country. I drive very big vehicles with very big trailers, and these are the best roads I've ever been on when it comes to backcountry.
Well, and if you're seeing social media, I mean, it's crazy. People just can take shots at you for no reason. But I guess what I'm saying, we've got 1,300 miles of road, we've got 250 bridges. And so I have 25 men that work for our road department. And added up, that's from all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, and back, a road system with 25 men, okay? So we are gonna spend the most time and effort on the roads that have the most traffic. It doesn't mean we don't want to maintain all the roads, we want to maintain every road. But, and they all get some maintenance. But it's a daunting job. But people live in Polk County, many people live in Polk County because they love living in a rural area. And there's not a better place in the world to live than Polk County. Amen. So, another question.
What's the difference between state, going down the highway, you see a sign that says state, or US state, or US sign, or a county road, what's the difference in those three?
Well, obviously, in our area, you're gonna have a US highway, which would be 71. That's the only US highway I think that we have. Then the other state highways, the small highways, 8 West, 88, 246, 278, those are obviously maintained by the state. And then the county roads are gonna have a county road number. If they don't have a county road number, they're not a county road. They may be a public road, for example, a lane, it may be a public road, but it's not a county road. All county roads are public roads, but not all public roads are county roads, if that makes any sense to you. And the county judge is charged with working on county roads.
So the state has the money, is responsible for the money that fixes all roads that says, Arkansas, A or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why don't they do it then?
Well, I can't answer that. Yeah, we could be here all night if you want to talk about road problems. Yeah, state road problems.
The US highway is, when they paved it, 3 years ago, it's already falling apart. These are our county roads are.
Okay, I don't disagree.
I have to say that I disagree a little bit about the road, because I moved here in 2011, when you were elected, and I've seen very little done in the road. Now, I agree about the state. I live near 370, 65, where you were.
There's been very little right there. You're not wrong.
370 is almost.
Not my responsibility.
I know, but 65 is not much.
It is nice. No, it is a lot better. It's not great, but it's a lot better than 370.
Well, the road is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and.
But you're not wrong. We haven't done much to that, and it's not because we don't want to, right? And I'm going to tell you, there's probably something going to be done. But one thing you're going to find out about me, I don't promise stuff. It happens when it happens. Because there's too many things that go wrong. When I've told somebody I'm going to do something, I mean to do it. And if I tell you I'm going to be out there next week and we have a bridge collapse or we have something go on, I'm not going to be there. And you're gonna say, well, they told me. So I'll just say this, I'm aware of County Road 65, and that me and my road foreman have talked about it many, many times. So I would expect something will happen to 65 before I die. That's about all I'm gonna do. I mean, I could die, but Mayor Smith.
How many miles of county road are you in charge of? And can you explain what that would be into a road trip if you left from Mena or from Little Rock? How far it would be with the amount of county roads that you're in charge of? And also, how many bridges are you in charge of throughout Polk County?
Well, if you left here and drove to Atlanta, Georgia, you probably could get to the Atlantic Ocean actually, and drove all the way back. That would be the number. And there's 250 bridges along the way. And now, I didn't build those roads. Those roads exist. Some of them we rebuilt. And it's not like it can't be done and keep them drivable, because we can. But 15 years ago, I decided that when I looked at what we needed to do to keep our roads, to have a long-term view, how can we make this better 15 years from now? Well, what was done in the past, or what I believe was done in the past, or a lot of what was done in the past, and part of it could be money, is that there was a lot of band-aids. There was a lot of, hey, look, we're going to go patch this thing up and it'll be better for 3 weeks, but it's going to be bad in 4 weeks. I just refused. I was not complaint driven. Some people don't like that. I didn't know if I'd make my first term or not, or my second term. But I decided we can't spend all our time and money and resources on band-aids. We have to go build permanent stuff, if there is such a thing as a road, permanent. But permanent for 20 years, 15 years, or at least till it gets resurfaced. And so I decided I'd do that. And it took 2 or 3 years to really, for people to understand the difference. So the fellow here that lives on 65, he's got a valid complaint. He has not seen a whole lot on 65. He's drove over the horrible or the State Highway 370, and then he hit 65, which is not great. Okay, he hasn't seen much work. But if you ask a deputy sheriff who drives all over the county, or if you ask someone that drives all over the county, they will tell you different, I believe. And so anyway, Mayor, you know the road system, and you know how we do things. And I think in the long run, Polk County's way better off because we do that. Any more questions?
Do you think that the mileage and the amount of bridges that are involved, are you able to take care of all that with just 25 employees?
Well,
Do you think maybe big more money, or do you think that we can manage that with just 25?
I think we do well, and I think since we've improved it year after year, here's what you're not going to hear from me, is that I'm going to want more money from y'all. I don't want more money. Because if you want somebody that wants more money from y'all to do this, I'm not your guy. Because we're going to do it with what y'all have given us already. We're going to do it, and I think we do a pretty good job at it. Most folks that live way out, they like living way out, or they wouldn't live way out. And those roads are just not going to get the number of cars per day. I can't go put most resources on a road that gets 5 cars an hour. It doesn't make sense. And if I hire 35 guys, which my quorum court would allow me, then I won't have fuel to last the year, or I won't have, enough asphalt that I want. Polk County, the citizens of Polk County, give us enough money to maintain this road system, and with what else I can go get from grants and whatnot to make it, I believe, okay. And so, yeah.
Do you use funding from like gasoline tax?
We do. It's derived. We've got there's 3 or 4 revenue streams. State gives us turn back money for road, which is a real thick formula, but part of it is fuel tax at the pump. So we get a formula, our county, how many cars do we have registered here, how many miles of road do we have, it's a weighted formula. So yes, we do. But we also have another revenue stream that passed the legislature, I guess, a few years ago. It's called an additional motor fuel tax, where they raised diesel fuel 5 cents and gasoline, I think, 1.5 cents tax, and it's separate. And I have to do a report each year how we spent that money to the legislature. So, anyway, there's no end. If I had $80 million, we couldn't do what some people would expect. Okay, it's not all about money either. Could I find 10 more operators for my road department that are really good? I struggle to hire people. Every business owner, every person in my position, the number one thing we do that we need to be really good at, it's a pop shot sometimes, it's hiring people, hiring the right people. If I couldn't find 10 more of the right people, we're wasting money. So the argument I have is that we would never pave all 1,300 miles. There's no way. I mean, this just can't be done. That's almost, I mean, that's just crazy. No, okay. A lot of these roads need to be gravel roads. They're just what they are. So I've looked at it about every way we can look at it, and I think we found about the right mix. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yeah. After this last snowfall that we had, what is your take on maintaining or clearing the roads for safety reasons? I mean, we've had a lot of streets in town that may remain covered with snow, and it's got to be a dangerous situation after a while. I know we don't have anything to do with the city, but your county roads, sometimes they're...
Well, Bruce, it wasn't snow, it was sleet. We've never seen, I'm old, I've never seen 6 or 8 inches of sleet at one time, ever. And if you've ever tried to cut an ice cube with a knife, you'll know that's about how this stuff came off. I am not a fan of putting metal blades on chip seal roads. It's not so bad on asphalt. It's still not good. But you put metal blades on chip seal roads, and you're gonna tear them up. You're gonna have more damage. You're gonna have some short-term gain and some long-term pain. And for no reason other than, now this one was a little different. So we had chicken houses out of chicken feed. We had to get chicken feed to them. We had, this was on the ground longer than anything that I've seen in the recent past. So I get it, and it was horrible. It wasn't like snow. You couldn't drive through it like snow. It was hard. So this was a one-off, I think. And in the future, we will look real hard about how much we put a metal blade on a chip seal road. So, because we're gonna have pain over this, I can tell you that right now. Well, some pre-treat fluids could, we may look at doing that, but gosh, again, with the alcohol tax. Oh.
Has that done anything to help us?
Couldn't tell you. DF&A, Department of Finance Administration, cannot or will not break that down for us. We have no idea where the money's coming from. Our sales tax, and the mayor can attest to this, our sales tax has grown nicely. It has. And it's from tourism. That's what it's from. It's from tourism, and it's from, well, we'll just say some of it's from inflation. You're paying more tax because of inflation. So, but we can't fix that. So our sales tax is better. And I'm telling you, Polk County is thriving if you don't believe it. It is. Polk County is doing good. From 15 years ago today, Polk County is doing great. I can just tell you that. Any other questions?
Yes. What about those water trucks? What do they get, what part do they play in fixing the road?
Well, it's commerce. Okay, so I never want to not have commerce. We have to have commerce. So it's kind of one of those things that I have to put up with. And I want the people that's cutting that wood and loading that wood and driving those trucks to have a job. And I want to be able to feed their families and all that. So that's something we put up with. That's what we do here. We raise chickens, we raise cattle, and we cut logs, and we do tourism. And well, I don't get so there's really no way to do it except make them bond it, and then how do you prove they're the ones that tore up the road, and which individual did it? So they're paying fuel tax, they're paying fire tax, which we'll all get a little of, but
In times past, if there's some kind of a penalty or taxation or something of some sort, where they, the longer people have to pay extra.
well, we don't have a Polk County, and I don't know if we would ever do that, but I have had to ask them not to haul for a few days. I have actually stopped them from hauling in certain places for a few days. I don't like doing that, but sometimes we have to. So that's happened. But yeah, it's just always going to be. Chicken trucks too. I mean, it's now a lot of trucks are 5,000 pounds heavier usually. So anybody else? All right, let me do it. How about a close? Well, he's looking at his notes. Ms. Coogan, I deal with a lot of loggers and what I do. I can tell you, those guys, most of them are carrying about $4,500 a month payment on their truck to buy it. They're putting about $1,000 a month back for maintenance. No, it's a hard business. Yeah. I mean, they're throwing maintenance money back, that they have to pay for fuel. Most of them are getting up at midnight, getting fuel at 1 o'clock in the morning. They're coming in at 6 o'clock the next evening. I mean, they're up against a lot. A lot of those guys, they're spending $10,000 before they make 25 cents. So that's the truth of it. Okay. The Arkansas Constitution requires the county judge to take on broad responsibilities. The county judge is the chief executive officer of the county. The county judge holds 2 of the 3 branches of county government, the judicial branch and the executive branch. This is a partial list of the duties the county judge has original jurisdiction on. County taxes, all financial activities, all buildings and real estate, custody of all county assets. In our case, we have 1,300 miles of county roads and 250 bridges. The county judge does equalization board appeals, landlocked case resolution, and presides over the quorum court with veto power. This job is not really a figurehead job. I mean, it's just not like that. It's a working job, and I do work hard every day. It's a high-level management position with a $16 million annual budget, and there's a lot of oversight. In my 26-year career of operating a business where I risk my own finances, it's made me value the opportunity of this country. And I'm very passionate about this. I love this country. I love the American dream. I saw our nation spiraling downward with corruption and self-interest, but I was busy running a company. How could I even help? How could I help? I was running a business, didn't have time. I could vote, and that was it. It wasn't realistic that I could run and win a U.S. congressional seat or a U.S. Senate seat, but I could win a rural county manager position, where I could at least help keep local government limited and efficient. I believe in limited government because people are willing and capable of managing their own affairs. Therefore, my vision of county government is to provide the basic function individuals cannot do for themselves. For example, we must have law enforcement. You can't do that yourself. We have to keep law and order, and we have to operate a jail. The court system for due process. We all deserve due process. Elections for fair representative government. Road and bridge. You can't build a road across someone else's property. There has to be authority to do that. And record keeping for transparency. So we need these. These are basic functions, but and we need to be really good at those. The primary election on March 3rd is to elect a Republican nominee for the general election in the fall. I'm the only candidate in this race that is a registered Republican. I was the first Republican county judge ever elected in Polk County. I'm the only candidate in this race that has consistently voted in the Republican primary. And I've been active, the only candidate that's been active member of the local Republican committee. And I adhere to these Republican principles of limited government, maximum freedom, private property rights, self-reliance, low taxes, and that too much government assistance destroys personal dignity and is antithetical to the American dream. This contest is in your hands. It's for you to decide. And I just ask you to contrast and compare. using only the verifiable evidence. You've collected some, that verifiable evidence, but only the verifiable evidence. You've seen my work, you know what it is, and you know what's happened, you know that it's happened. And I want to close by saying the American dream exists. And I want this opportunity for all of our children and grandchildren. And when you consider all of my experiences in life, business, and county government, I believe that I am uniquely qualified. I'm Brandon Ellison, and I'm asking for your vote for re-election. Thank you.
Hey guys, and right after this, we're going to have a meet and greet. There may be some pizza left. But I do want to thank everybody for being here. My name is Don Cloud Davis. I am president of We the People Tea Party. This one, don't forget, please, we have donation buckets up front. Please, please. You have a question, Craig?
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, brother. No, thank you, man. Yes.
Where do you guys meet?
We meet third Monday, fourth Monday. Hey, man, I go. Third Monday is the Republican Committee. Yes. Fourth Monday, Papa's Restaurant, 6 p.m. Bless y'all. Thank you.